To Lunchtime News, my name is Jackie Wambiru. Sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Well, we have a comprehensive bulletin lined up this afternoon, and you can interact with us on our social media handles at KBC Channel 1. Now, to kick us off, we shall be crossing over to Parliament buildings, where the Committee on Public Debt and Privatization is meeting with the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, Professor Njuguna Ndongo, to consider the 2024 medium-term debt management strategy. Now, let's cross over to Parliament buildings and listen in.
Yes, page 7. Yes, so page 7 in the answer C to the question that we submitted as a committee. Your answer says that by November 2028, we'll be at 55%, which is in line with the amendments we have done to the PFM Act. That's the good thing. But if we go to page 16 of the MTDS that is submitted to Parliament, in 2028, the figure in table 12, we have given that we will be at 56.9, which is way above 55. And you said that we will be back, we will be compliant in 2033. Here, in your answer, you're telling us we will be compliant in 2028. In this document, marked secret, you're telling us we will be compliant in 2033. So which one is which? Number 3. You have told us the good news about the issuance of the 1.5 billion US dollar bond, euro bond, and the fact that it is going to be used to repay, or it has already been used to repay part of our June 2024 euro bond. Could you please tell this committee whether that issuance was at par, whether it was premium, or it was discounted? So how much money have we actually received? Is it 1.5 billion? Or it is less than that? And if it is less, or even more than that, I'm told you that premium will be getting. So tell us how much money was received instead of this just figure that is no longer than 1.5 billion. In the same vein, it is common knowledge that the US Fed is going to reduce interest rates probably in the July meeting. Why is it that we are borrowing, or we borrow, and didn't wait for us to get advantage of the interest rate reduction effect? Because we're told that the interest rates are high because the US market is very strong, dollars are flowing from here to the US. But if the interest rate high is expected to be.
Well, those live pictures on the screens are from Parliament building, where National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Ndongo is appearing before the Committee on Public Debt and Privatization. Well, we shall be keeping you updated on developments. For now, we cross over to Migori, where the national government has been urged to intervene and resolve conflict along the borders of Migori and Transmara counties. This was the call during a fundraising event in Kuria West and Migori County. The county governor Chilo Oyako and his deputy Joseph Mahiri emphasized on the need to resolve ethnic conflict for the sake of the region's economic growth.
Kwa hivyo Wakuria ni Wakenya na watu wa Migori County ni Wakenya, na wakiamua na wakiwa na property hata Kisii, hata Migori, hata kwingine, wako na haki ya kuishi hapo na kurithi hiyo property. So we really want you to prioritize that.
What we need to do ni kupenda nchi yetu na kupenda wale viongozi ambao tulichagua ili watufanyie kazi na tuwe na matumaini, hope kila wakati ya kwamba hiyo kazi itatekelezwa.
Now, Kasarani lawmaker Ronald Karauri now wants more funding directed to Kenya Urban Roads Authority to enhance road construction and renovation in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Speaking during the groundbreaking of Saika, Mwegenye and Chemichemi roads, the lawmaker said the current allocation is not sufficient and pledged to push for more allocation in Parliament. During the event, residents urged their representatives to intervene in cases where title deeds are yet to be issued.
Lakini area kubwa ya Kasarani, barabara za kera, hiyo pesa ya kera haiwezi tosha. Ndio lazima tushirikiane pia na kura. So kama Ken hawana pesa, kura hawana pesa, na tukirely na pesa za kera peke yake, development haiwezi tosheleza, especially hapa Nairobi. So we ukipewa barabara Nairobi na hiyo pesa umepewa, hauwezi anza kuja hapa sasa nianze kuja nikue Kamaram. Standard ya Nairobi ni lami. Sasa ukiweka hiyo pesa kwa lami, ile distance unaweza jenga na hiyo do inakuwa tena kidogo sana. Unaona sasa lazima mshirikiane na kura, pia county ndio unaona pia Nairobi county lazima pia ishirikiane, iko na barabara zake za kujenga. Kazi yangu si ati kesi ziende kuendelea, tunataka tu haki. Tuende kotini, shamba isemekane ni ya nani kwanza. So wananchi wenyewe wamesema hawana shida kunegotiate na ule mwenye shamba na waongee na wamalize hiyo story.
In other news, Mandera County leaders have called for quick reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission or the introduction of legislation that will allow for by-elections in areas that have been without representation owing to the current composition of IEBC. Banisa constituency in Mandera is among the areas that have had no representation since the death of Kulo Maalim Hassan early last year. The Mandera leaders claim the constituency remains underdeveloped owing to the lack of representation and continues to strain the constituents.
Wanafunzi wanataka basari Banisa. Kila mara wakati tunatoa basari katika constituency zetu tunawahurumia. Tunashindwa tutafanya namna gani? Tuko na pesa ndogo. Kuna wanafunzi wa kutoka Banisa constituency hawana mjumbe, hawana basari, tutafanya namna gani? Maendeleo ingine, kujenga mashule, kujenga barabara, kufanya vitu vingine bila mjumbe, watu wa Banisa wameweza kuteseka mwaka mzima.
Mr. President, the entire government, there is no way we can have a whole constituency without a representative for a whole year. It's inhuman. It is against the Constitution of Kenya. I can only call it a constitutional crisis as it is, because the people of Banisa deserve a right to be served.
A faith-based lobby group is now targeting to train vulnerable women and youth on how to effectively curb female genital mutilation, gender-based violence, teenage pregnancies and early marriages. The lobby group particularly targets Mandera, Marsabit and Isiolo counties, where it says the vice is rampant. Faith to Action Network Chief Executive Director Peter Munene emphasized the need to redouble and increase awareness to ensure the group amplifies the fight against the vice. He was speaking at a Nairobi hotel during a training session for media practitioners, civil society groups and religious leaders.
How to use home-grown solution. The youth are so high temper. Yeah, so they need to be trained and timed in their adolescence in order to be a very good community.
This is a collective responsibility, and we must all collaborate with all the actors, from the politicians, from the civil society organizations, from the community elders, from the community gatekeepers, from the youth, and all stakeholders within the counties.
The divorce rate in our counties, in these 3 counties, are quite high because our daughters get married at a very early stage, and then divorce rate is also very high. Again, the issue of gender-based violence is quite high in some of these areas, and ours is just to say we need to empower both our young men and our young girls so that we can have healthy families.
What we are doing currently is actually one of the ways in which we do it, building the capacity of members of the network to to be able to undertake different interventions with a different way and different skills. We create opportunities for members of the network to come together in conferences, in conventions, to be able to share their own experiences and learn from each other.
Kenyan youth have been challenged to consider enrolling in hospitality courses where they can pick up skills that will enable them to be self-reliant. Speaking during Utalii College Bakery competition, Star Bakers Director Chetna Desai emphasized on the need to empower the youth, majority of who are jobless. He urged young people to consider taking up short courses that include hospitality to enable them to venture into self-employment.
As Kenya, it's a proud moment for us to have our bakers with us and come out with their talents and their intelligence and come up with a beautiful theme which we have done is the tourism. So we are looking forward to have a great Star Bakers Award program.
They've been brought here to showcase bakery as a skill, bakery as a job that any other youth in Kenya can do. Now, if you look behind me again, the participants, most of them, apart from a few, it's a mix of home bakers and trained bakers.
Calls have intensified for parents to engage their children on the importance of investment, especially in the real estate industry. This was the clarion call during the issuance of title deeds in Juja for housing projects by a real estate agency. During the exercise, the housing project investors commended the government for streamlining the real estate sector to reduce incidences of fraud in the profession.
Message yangu kwa vijana ni tuache kutosheleka haraka sana. Sababu tukitosheleka maishani, hiyo ndo chanzo ama ndo hapo panaanza umaskini ama fukara. Sababu ukitosheleka, ile pesa uko nayo hutaona umuhimu wa kuwekeza. Hiyo kuwekeza leo kidogo na kesho ingine kidogo, ndo Mswahili alisema ni hamba na ndo inajaza kibamba. Ukiwekeza leo kidogo, kesho uwekeze plot ingine, within time utapata wewe ni mwekezaji hodari na ile kuwekeza itakuja kukunufaisha. Kila mtu ni investor kwa sababu wakati unaweza kujinyima raha tu kidogo, unakuja pale Hodari Homes ama tunatembelea ile kikundi uko nayo, kwa kawaida huwa tunawafundisha umuhimu wa kuinvest for future reference.
Now moving on, police and prison officers are set to receive a 40% salary increment starting July this year. Interior Permanent Secretary Raymond Omolo says the increment will be effected as part of the implementation of reforms in the security sector.
Maybe just a top highlight of some of those priorities. One is with regards to the institutional reforms within the security sector. So whether it's the reforms within the National Police Service, the reforms within the Kenya Prison Service, engagements towards improving not just the infrastructure, but also capacity building of the officers that work with us within the ministry.
And we as government also assure them of our commitment and in particular on behalf of Correctional Services, State Department, we commit to implement the Maraga report to its fullest extent.
We had the opportunity this morning to look at a whole range of areas of cooperation. Let me just touch on three so rapidly. The first, in the area of the refugee file. We're so excited that the Sharika plan, after 30 years of generous hosting of refugees in Kenya, is going to help us make this transition to helping the development of host communities and refugees together. We're really, as partners, looking forward to supporting that.
The national government says it is committed to fighting cartels in the music and arts industry to ensure artists earn from their talents. Speaking in Kilifi County, Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage, Aisha Juma, challenged Kilifi County Assembly to pass bills that will entrench traditional music, arts and artifacts in law, and help in revenue collection through tourism and research education. Governor Migori said that he will ensure local artists are well taken care of. Juma spoke during the burial of prominent traditional songwriter and singer Marsha Ihathoya in Malindi Town, Kilifi County.
Tumeanza kuhakikisha ya kwamba mwanamuziki hawezi kudhulumiwa. Tumesema hatutaweza na haitawezekana tena. Wale ambao walikuwa ni cartels katika music industry, hivi sasa siku zao zimeisha. Itakuwa ni pesa kwa mwanamuziki kwanza, na hiyo ndio kauli mbiu ya rais wetu wa jamhuri yetu ya Kenya.
Najua mama, hiyo docket ambao umeikalia, najua wewe ni mama mchapakazi. Tushike mikono sisi kama Wamijikenda, tupropel ili Kenya nzima iweze kujua Mjikenda mambo yake ni gani na gani, na tuweze kupata heshima.
Two legislators have called on Kenyans to be patient with the government as it works its way in stabilizing the country's economy. Kenango, Member of Parliament Ngozi Samuel Rai and his Kiharu counterpart Ndende Nyoro maintain that the government is putting in place strategies that aim to bring down the cost of living soon. They were optimistic that the country was on the right path.
Lakini nashukuru kwamba baada ya Mheshimiwa Rais kuingia mamlakani, wananchi walipiga kelele kwa sababu walikuwa wanasema kwamba tunasikia kama tumefinyiliwa. Lakini niliwahi kuambia na nikawaambia, siku zote dawa inayoponyesha mtu haiwezi kuwa tamu. Dola imeanza kubehave, kuonekana kwamba karibuni uchumi nao utafanya nini? Utaanza kukua na kuanza kubadilika.
Na mimi nataka niwahakikishie wa Kenya, mimi vile nimeona rais wetu amepanga maneno, nikitumia hata budget kama kioo, naona rais anajua kabisa kwenye Kenya inaenda. So I know for sure the president has the right intentions for our country.
In other news, residents of Ilbisil town in Kajiado County are expressing fears following the sighting of a snake in a water pan in the area. The residents are calling on the county government to urgently intervene and rid the area of the snake that is a threat to the locals. According to the residents, heavy rains in the area resulted in the formation of the water pan that is close to a school. They say attempts to have the local administration remove the snake and clear the water have been futile.
Shimo hii iko na nyoka kubwa sana na imejaa na maji, ni deep, ni ndefu sana. Kwa hivyo na iko na mawe pia. Mtoto anaweza rukia pale akagongwa na mawe, anaweza rukia pale akagongwa na yule joka. So tuna hofu sana kwa sababu ya ile shimo. Kwa hivyo tunaomba viongozi wetu mpate kutusaidia tuzike shimo hii.
Na tunaangazia kwamba hii ni mzigo wetu sisi wote, wazazi, walimu na viongozi. Kama kutakuwa na namna ya kufunika hii shimo ama ya kuondoa huyo mnyama, tungefaa kushikana wote na tukuje tufanye hiyo kazi.
Waja wafunike hii shimo kwa sababu ya hatari ya watoto. Tusingoje kitu itokee mbaya alafu kesho tuseme kujeni funika shimo.
There was jubilation at Ngoma Boys High School in Laikipia West when a group of alumni visited the school and initiated a mentorship program for the learners. The group shared meals and also offered one-on-one tips with the students as they also took their time to reminisce about the time when they were students during their heydays. The alumni chairman, Derito Karinga, called upon all old students of various schools in the region to give back to the society through mentorship programs among other initiatives.
Tukashikana tukasema vile tuliweza kusaidiwa kwa hii shule, sasa hivi tutasaidia na wale walikuwa kwa nyuma yetu na tuweze kuwaelekeza na waone maana ya kuwa watu wanatilia maanani masomo na wenye nidhamu ya hali ya juu.
Na tukakuwa na walimu ambao walitupatia nidhamu ambayo inatusaidia mpaka wa leo.
ili hata wao waone kuwa hiyo nidhamu tulipewa na yale sisi tulipitia hapa, tumejikimu vizuri kwa maisha na tumeweza kupata manufaa mazuri.
Now, the climate action debate took center stage when thousands of scouts gathered in Nyeri County during the commemoration of the Scouts movement founder Baden Powell. Now, speakers at the event are calling on the government to ensure that children in the country are part of the climate change agenda. The government has a target of planting up to 15 billion trees by the year 2032.
Speakers highlighted the pivotal role children can play in climate action. World Scout Parliamentary Union patron who doubles up as the Senate Speaker, Amason Kingi, emphasized the urgency of climate change and urged Scouts to mobilize communities for environmental conservation.
I challenge you, Scouts. I challenge you, fellow Scouts, to mobilize this great army of Scouts to play a leading role in climate mitigation activities as epitomized by community mobilization, awareness creation, environmental conservation through tree planting and cleanup campaigns.
Chief Scout of the Kenya Association of Scouts, Professor Jacob Kaimenyi, stressed on the importance of empowering the youth and ensuring that they are part and parcel of the efforts to combat climate change.
We have a plastics initiative by the Kenya Scouts Association, principally because we want to sensitize our people. When you see somebody throw a plastic gadget somewhere, tell them no. Now usiogope, useme ukweli, and you shame the devil. That is the spirit. That's the spirit we should have in this country.
We are calling upon the Nairobi River Commission to step up to the plate. They need to go beyond boardroom deliberations, to go beyond preparing papers. We want to see them on the ground. We want to see them tidying up, cleaning up, and sorting out Nairobi River Basin.
Alice Wambiru, a 10-year-old climate activist, urged the government to implement child-centered approaches in combating climate change.
Part of these strategies would be that the government should activate proper ways for how climate action should be incorporated in the school's curriculum.
John Junge for Lunchtime News.
And away from environmental matters, members of the County Assembly in Yanera County have challenged the youth to shun retrogressive practices for a stable and productive generation. They noted that illicit brew and drug abuse are the key challenges affecting the youth and responsible for family disunity. Speaking while conducting a cleaning exercise in the county, the MCAs led by Milka Wanjiru used the opportunity to create awareness on the dangers of alcoholism and drug abuse. They are now planning to establish a rehabilitation and wellness center in the county to rehabilitate recovering drug and alcohol addicts.
To the government and to all stakeholders, especially our government, if there is some fund somewhere we can set aside to help these children for rehabilitation, then we will support. We are doing that as a county government. We are appealing to the national government to come and help us.
We must come out, fight this menace. It's a menace which is threatening a whole generation and future generations to come. And that is why we are holding this exercise, and it will be sustainable. We have talked with the county government, even if it means diverting some of the funds so that we can save a generation.
We thank you for this timely intervention. I'm one person who have faced the consequences of alcoholism. I'm a graduate, I'm a trained accountant, but today I'm jobless because of this menace.
Now, in a world facing unprecedented environmental challenges, one conservation strategy is bearing fruits: the translocation of rhinos to new habitats. Conservationists say this has better chances of securing the future of these magnificent creatures. Our wildlife reporter Alvin Kaunda witnessed this exercise at Loisaba Conservancy that received 21 black rhinos and prepared the following story. Let's have a look.
Rhinos. Once abundant across Africa and Asia, now face the threats of extinction due to rampant poaching and habitat loss, dramatically dwindling their numbers to near extinction. Aggressive conservation efforts have, however, seen Kenya's black rhino numbers bounce back from less than 400 in the 1980s to over 1,000 individuals currently.
We are sending a few to Samburu area, to a conservancy over there. We'll be sending to different places. So as it is right now, the rhinos that we have, the just 2004, need to move to new locations so they can breed faster, be able to grow faster.
One of such efforts was the successful translocation of 21 eastern black rhinos to Loisabe Conservancy in Nanyuki, Laikipia County from Nairobi National Park, Lewa and Old Vegeta Conservancies that became congested.
When we are selecting these individuals, we select them to match and improve on their genetic makeups. So if we go to Nairobi, we select individuals that we have bred over time. When we come to Lewa, we end 12 of them in Lewa, and we were able to pick that are not going to compromise their genetic makeup.
It took highly trained capture and veterinary experts from the Kenya Wildlife Service and its partners 18 days to complete the exercise that had a fair share of challenges. The Nature Conservancy, San Diego Zoo, Space for Giants, Eliwana Collection, the Old Vegeta and Lewa Conservancies partnered with local communities in this venture after a previous one held in 2018 that saw 11 black rhinos succumb.
And it meant that we had to undergo extremely rigorous assessments over a period of about 3 years, science-led about browse and conditions and ability for the landscape to house the eastern black rhinos, management to investigate whether we had the capability, security, land tenure, finance, everything was carefully assessed and verified.
This remarkable turnaround has been driven by government, determined, coupled with efforts and support of many local and international organizations, and this also includes communities that live with this wildlife.
The strategy adopted by the Kenyan Wildlife Service for the conservation of black rhinos has been to create a meta population across the country.
Genetic diversity is key to the survival of any species. Translocation, therefore, helps create new breeding grounds, preventing inbreeding and enhancing the overall health of rhino populations.
What this effort does is it creates a new sanctuary where black rhinos can be established and the population can grow, because the biggest limiting factor for black rhino conservation in Kenya today is space.
This successful translocation has seen Loisabe Conservancy have its first rhinos in over 50 years after their decimation by poachers in the 1970s. The translocation is not only a win for the species' survival, but also has a positive impact on the local economies, creating jobs and supporting community developments through ecotourism initiatives.
For us, it's a huge step to bring back a megafauna after an absence of more than 50 years, and to really prove that conservation can succeed and conservation can contribute and create benefits for communities and the economy, the wildlife economy at large.
By keeping the locations of translocated rhinos confidential, conservationists are taking a proactive stance against poaching, thus safeguarding the rhinos. With this hard yet important task, let's remember that rhino translocation is a crucial conservation step in safeguarding these majestic creatures. By relocating them to safer habitats, we're actively contributing to the preservation of biodiversity and ensuring a brighter future for rhinos on our planet. Reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Well, thank you so much, Alvin Kaunda, for that report. And on that note, we take a short break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more news coming up.
Mganga, kwa nini unaniita ukiwa hujudani laani?
Kwa nini mimi nani? Mjukuu wa Mekatilili wa Menza. Okay, na mimi utajua mimi ndio mjukuu wa Bob Money. Toka kama mkubandike la uso sasa hivi. Uniwekee vya kupiga bonge moja na sima la uso wewe. Mwangalie.
Mimi na Mogaka tunakuanga one thing. In fact, inafaa nikikoa wewe unaitika.
You not my girlfriend. This is not my type.
Kwani hao watu hawako hapa ndani?
Hawapo.
Siko sasa hivi mimi ni mkubwa hata sasa ndio naandika watu gasi bwana.
Watu watoto wa siku hizi manze bana. Sasa ongelesha wazazi vizuri wewe.
Wewe waacha.
Tinaitwa from TikTok ya.
Nimekumbukwa na Yesu 2024. Alafu hapo zinashika.
Yes. Mimi kama chipukizi do I qualify to be your daddy? Ama sugar daddy ni nani huyu?
Well, it depends with your pockets, number one.
Yeah.
你到底想要我感觉什么？我就一棵树嘛，这里最不缺的就是树。里边下的紧急任务。先生，那个啥，发布一台纸袋。
写字的上。能闻到松木芥末的味道。
我最近老使那个油锯，手都有点不听使唤了。
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. A lobby group calling itself Nairobi Single Mothers has come out to defend the Dish in a County program initiated by Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja. The lobby group accused Tunza Mtoto Coalition Kenya Executive Director Janet Oko, who filed a case at the High Court seeking to suspend the school feeding program on grounds that it is illegal. Oko in her suit argued that education is a national government function of having ulterior motives driven by personal gains. The group alleges that Oko is running a parallel private shadowy school feeding program.
In running a private shoddy school feeding enterprise has raised serious concern. Her recent lawsuit against the Sakaja Dish in a County program suggests ulterior motives driven by personal gain rather than genuine concern for welfare of Nairobi children.
Being myself as a widower and a single parent, I do know what it takes to put a meal on the table. And most of the Nairobians don't have that money to buy the food. Therefore, we are shocked and surprised that Modoni Ouko, who has been an advocate for child rights, can therefore then take such a noble program, such as Dish in a County, to court, yet it's for the children.
Let's talk business. SACCOs are angling for applying the affordable housing program by tailoring financial products for their members. Harambe Investment Cooperative Society CEO Gishoki Kabukuru says, backed by funds from the state-owned Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company for onward lending to potential homeowners, the SACCO has doubled its housing plan to 8 million shillings. In addition, Kabukuru says they have a product enabling members to buy land at a place of their choice, then finance them to put up a house.
Our focus is to empower our members. The government plan of affordable housing, we are supporting it through getting our members land in strategic areas that is affordable so that they can be able to build and develop themselves. These prices are inclusive of title deed. So when a member buys, they are sure they will be able to get a title.
The UK is enticing international students by offering them a 2-year visa to work there after graduation, enabling them to secure employment. Lorna Clayton, the managing director for academic families, is urging parents to consider international education since it promotes open-mindedness, global perspective and adaptability. Earlier, Lorna talked to my counterpart, Abdiaziz Hashim, about international education, and this is how the conversation went.
Good afternoon, and this afternoon we'll be focusing on the assessing of the overreaching value of the international education. Now, over the years, the internationalization of the education has involved the movement of students across languages and cultures on unprecedented scale. Now, to help some Kenyan students settle in the education system in the United Kingdom, which is the UK, Lorna Clayton, the managing director, Academic Families Leads, which are currently leading this drive, is currently joining us this afternoon. Lorna, good afternoon, and thank you for making time for us.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Lorna, I'm interested to understand, and now given that while perception of the value of the international education systems are differently nuanced across the globe, explain to us what is the value of the international education?
Well, international education varies. In Kenya, you have excellent education, and much of that is in international schools and with international people.
Yes.
However, when you're overseas, then whichever nationality you are, then you get a different perspective. And I think its perspective is the key thing that international education brings you. You're mixing with, in the UK, you're mixing with British students, but also with internationals from around the world.
And indeed, Lorna, there are a few sectors in the UK economy which, with the capacity to grow and generate export earnings in terms of as an impressive education system that you have in your country. And is it this is why you're attracting so many students, not just from Kenya, but across the globe?
Oh, I don't know. I think we attract them because the education is very good in the first place. Of course, schools, boarding schools and universities need revenue, and so are always looking for international students. However, I would say that it's actually because that we are leading in a globalized world, and we want to have internationals to come and to help the British population to become more internationalized as well as the other internationals all mixing together. And in the university sector, international students get charged more than UK students. However, in the boarding school sector, in the high school side, then all pupils are charged the same. It doesn't matter whether you're international or you're UK student.
And indeed, there are only limited literature that focuses, especially in our country, on international education. Maybe, is it something that you have leveraged in your country and we could borrow from you?
Well, yes, there is a lot of literature about education, and yes, we also have transnational education where we're bringing the UK institutions to countries, to other countries. So for example, to Kenya. So there is a lot to learn. But to be perfectly honest, your education is also mature, so it is very much about sharing as well.
And indeed, what are some of the challenges that some of these international students go through, and an organization such as yours take and help them through?
Well, I would say the first thing, some people would say the first thing is culture, but I think it actually goes back before then. The first thing is actually getting the right institution for you, and that's where we come in. If you're looking for yourself, you will start by looking at the institutions and seeing, will I fit in? Is this the right one for me? But actually, we work the other way around. We say, well, okay, you want to go overseas for your education. Tell us about you. What are your strengths and your weaknesses? What are your aspirations? Where do you want to go? And then we match and we help you to find the institution to match to you rather than the other way around. Don't you try and fit in. Get them to fit in with you and find the best opportunity for you.
And you know, funding plays a very critical role, especially for students who are going outside the country. So what criteria do you use if a person is unable to pay? What are some of the mechanisms that you have put in place to ensure that you help them to pay what is required?
Well, I know that there are wealth managers, there are institutions in Kenya that will help families plan, and I know that many families plan. Some will plan to go for university education, and some are in a luckier position that they can also go for secondary education for boarding. In the UK, there tend not to be many scholarships. The scholarships is more a US benefit, but there are different ways. If you have great strengths in sport in particular, then then we will help look for scholarship options.
And what is the other side of that? The benefits that if a student studies in the UK, what are some of these qualities that that person will come back to the country with?
Well, employers will always look for open-minded, international perspective, and skills and resilience and adaptability, all those sort of soft skills that that employers are looking for. And students will get that. They will get a global perspective. If they go at boarding school level, then they will be sharing rooms. They will have to get on with other people. There's a lot that you have to deal with it. If you have an issue, you just have to deal with it and get on with it. They will learn a lot of those skills. If they come at university level, first then they'll be a little bit more independent when they arrive, and they have to find their way, whereas the school leavers going on to university will already have a network. But I think the key thing is that with British university, boarding school goes on to university, it's a pathway, possibly in the UK, possibly around the world, it doesn't matter, the British qualifications will take you everywhere. But once you graduate from university in the UK, you get a 2-year post-study work visa, and that belongs to you, so you don't have to be tied to any employer. So it gives you 2 years of work of valid work experience, which when you now come back to Kenya, you've not only had that international perspective with your university with your education, but you've also had that experience of working, and you can bring that back with you.
And I'm sure many Kenyans will be wondering, if I get that 2-year visa to work in the UK, for example, in that particular period of time, are there mechanisms to ensure that it can be extended?
Yes, of course, that's what many people want to be, but remember, they've still got to come back to Kenya. But yes, so assuming that you've got a good work placement, a good job for those 2 years, then it's quite straightforward for your employer to sponsor you and to take on that responsibility. You're then tied with that employer because the visa is now with that employer, they are the sponsor. But you've had 2 years to work that out, and so that can be very successful.
As we're entering the final leg of this conversation, maybe tell us testimonies that you've got from family members that you have been able to help.
Oh, I don't know if we've got enough time. I have so many. I'll give you one very good example of Angie, and she was in the Air Force system, and then she knew she wanted an international education, so she transitioned to an international school here in Kenya, in Nairobi, for 2 years and did her IGCSEs. Once she had her IGCSEs, we now helped her, and she went to the UK to sit her A-levels for 2 years. Now she finished school, and with our support, but also with school support, she was able to find the university of her choice. And she's actually gone to part of LSE, London School of Economics, but she's on their Forward College programme, where she's been taught in Portugal, in France and in Germany. And then she'll come back, 2 years working in the UK, and then she comes back to Kenya. Wow. A great international perspective.
Those are just one of the testimonials. Maybe finally tell us, have you been able to work with the Ministry of Education, especially here in the country, to at least cement and ensure the relationship, given that Kenya and UK have a good relationship at the end of the day?
Indeed, we have had conversations, but at the moment where we're at is with the private sector. We'd love to broaden that out to wider, but at the moment it is private individuals who are seeking our advice and can contact us, and then we will help them. We're out in Kenya many times a year.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Unfortunately, that is the time we had for you this afternoon. That is Lorna Clayton, the Managing Director of the Academic Families, who are currently leading this drive in terms of the assessing of the overreaching value of the international education, its impact here in the country and beyond our borders. You've just heard from Lorna, the opportunities out there. All you require is just get on your laptop and ensure that you sign up for those institutions that may require you. Or if you want to carry out, like personally, I want to do my master's outside the country, it's something that I could consider. That is all the time we had for you, and of course after the break we'll continue with our coverage.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Abdiaziz, for that report. Now we cross over to Mombasa County, where the Construction Industry in Focus conference is currently underway, and we shall be linking up with our reporter O'Brien Kimani for an updated report. O'Brien?
Many thanks, Jacqueline Wambiru, back there in Broadcasting House. The construction industry is a critical player in Kenya's economy, contributing about 7% to the country's GDP. But the sector has been beset by many challenges despite many triumphs. Joining us this afternoon here at the coast are members of the Multi-Sectoral Agency Committee the team that is trying to come up with solutions in a bid to streamline the industry. Joining me is the PS, or Principal Secretary in the State Department for Public Works, Joel Rumonyo. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Bona PS. But first of all, tell us, why are we here?
Thank you very much. My name is Joel Arumonyang, State Department of Public Works PS. We are here as a multi-agency committee. This is a team comprising of the players in the built environment. We have National Construction Authority. We have a National Building Inspectorate. We have our regulators, the Engineers Board of Kenya, and the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors, National Disaster Operations Center, among others. This is a committee that is focused to ensure that we have zero building collapses in this country. This has been a problem for Kenya, and we are gathered here to in this retreat to share ideas after the team was reconstituted in 2022 December by the CS Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. After working for 1 year, we are now here to review the steps, milestones and the strategies to ensure that we have a well-organized built environment. Secondly, through the leadership of the head of public service, all the players within the built environment, on 28th of October last year, we met and we also agreed to ensure that we put our minds together to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. We want to examine the role of our professionals. Secondly, we want to ensure that what are the issues within our education sector, the training. You will get to know the President recently approved the establishment of Kenya School of Government. Of course, strategies are being made, and we have here my colleague represented here from Roads. The PS Road is represented here by Engineer Rasa, and also my colleague PS Housing and Urban Development. For the next we are here for 5 days. To examine how, even in the region, how are we going to export labor? The President is very keen that we have to put strategies to ensure that our youth are employed. Very well. In line with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and we believe that professionals in the engineering professionals, also our architects, and all within the built environment can be able to provide an opportunity for this country also to work in the region and across the world.
I want to bring on board the Executive Director of the National Construction Authority, Engineer Akech. I want to hear from you, from where you sit and from where you stand. What are the key emerging issues out of this engagement?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. As my PS has said, we are here to review our performance for this multi-sectoral committee for the last 1 year since it was reconstituted. At the end of this workshop, we expected to come up with the policy interventions that will address some of the gaps that still exist to mitigate and address the issues of incidences of collapsing buildings and even safety in the construction sector in Kenya. And most importantly, it is going to include all the players. Actually, more than 12 different players in the built environment are here, including from the county up to national government. So at the end of the 5 days, it's expected that we'll come up with robust, tangible policy interventions. And of course, the policy owner is here, our PS, which will be driven through the necessary policy developments and approval. And once done, it will improve the enforcement provision, it will improve the regulatory framework. And going forward, I think we'll be talking of safe built environment once and for all. That's why we are here. Thank you.
Buena PS, in 30 seconds, I want to hear from you. What do we expect this meeting, or how do we expect this meeting to change the built landscape in this country going forward?
The built landscape going forward is going to change. We have very quick interventions, which is going to transform. For instance, the building code. The building code already will be submitted in Parliament soon by our CS. Already it is in the government printer, and we hope that will address the gaps that were there, like for example, the prescriptive approach in the oldest code, and also lack of technology, embracement of embrace technology, and also hazard mapping. Secondly, we are bringing together these minds to have a coordinated approach in dealing with the issues in the built environment. Where we have gaps, we can be able to generate policy issues that will be able to change the landscape. Remember, this is a progressive. We have to, we are using progressive approach, and that is why the whole of government approach is implemented, and we are here to address that.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, Jacqueline Wambiru, we have a whole team of players in the built environment, from engineers to architects to, it is, as you can see, all of them are here, to contractors, and of course county representation is also here. And of course we'll be engaging with them throughout the week. Remember, we are camping here until, as we say, the fat lady sings. My name is O'Brien Kimani. I'm taking you back to Broadcasting House for Lunchtime News.
Well, thank you so much, O'Brien Kimani. They are bringing us up to speed where PS of Public Works, Joel Rumanyang, highlighted that they're gathering there with the construction industry players to deliberate issues affecting the industry. Now we move on to sports news, where Crispin Ofiambo, alias Kenya One, emerged victorious in the Umoja 2 Drought tournament held in Nairobi. Ofiambo, who was named Africa's best player last year, has been on fine form this season. Now Alex Lusala from Nairobi County Droughts and captain number 2 Tom Obonyo from Kawangware took the second position. Linus Musana from Kitengela finished third. More than 20 players drawn from Nairobi took part in the tournament. All eyes now shift to the Kisumu Open, slated for 30th and 31st of next month.
First, we appeal recognition, because that is the most important thing. We are in the process of trying to ensure that we meet the requirements for full registration, but we have not met those requirements because there are some stringent rules that we have not yet met. So we appeal for recognition, and out of that recognition, we can now be able to ask for sponsorship. Yes, this is a game of the mind, and we want to promote it not only at the level of senior players, we want to promote it in school, just like we play chess and so on. Played at a high level, it is quite a challenging game. Some can arguably say that it is even challenging more than chess.
Six Nations was another action-packed affair, with Italy again coming short of victory and reigning champions Ireland answering every question asked of them. After a win for Scotland at home, they leapfrog England to second in the standings, still trailing the Irish by 6 points.
Black jackets home now, and Ireland get there.
The action kicked off at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, where Ireland triumphed to a 31-7 win over Wales. 2 unanswered tries by Sheehan and Lowe in the first half set the path for a third consecutive victory for the defending champions. Wales opened the second half being awarded a penalty try, but Kyron Frawley dashed all hopes of an already unlikely comeback with a third Irish try in the 66th minute.
Must be for Frawley, and at last the Welsh defence.
England travelled to Edinburgh hoping to keep their 100% winning record alive, but Duhan van der Merwe had other ideas.
Given a chance on the outside, Slade can't get hold of him, and it's Duhan van der Merwe. Can you believe it? He's into the corner for another one against England.
A hat-trick for the Scot earned him player of the match just seconds before being sent to the sin bin. The winger scored twice in the first half, with George Ford keeping the England score ticking over with a drop goal just before the break. Duhan crossed the try line for a third time just 4 minutes into the second half, with Finn Russell's metronomic kicking consistency punishing England all game. 30-21 was the final score. Italy came close to their first win of the tournament, but 13 apiece was the final score in Lille. France took control of the game until Jonathan Dante received a red card for a high tackle. Italy drew level in the second half and could have won the game with a penalty kick from Gabrisi, but it wasn't meant to be. Italy remains at the bottom of the standings with 3 points, with France and Wales's 4th and 5th positions respectively remaining unchanged. Scotland are the new closest challengers to Ireland, just 1 point above England in third. For Lunchtime News, I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
A draw.
Liverpool won their 10th League Cup title after beating arch rivals Chelsea 1-0 in the final match played last night at the Wembley. Now, the lone goal was netted by Virgil 2 minutes from the end of extra time. Liverpool now have beaten Chelsea in 3 Wembley finals in the past 2 years, having also defeated them on penalties in both FA Cup and EFL Cup finals of 2022. The Reds are in the last 16 of both the Europa League and FA Cup and sit atop the English Premier League with 12 games of the season remaining. This is Jurgen Klopp's final lap and he has run that bend well. The German will leave the club this summer after a trophy-laden 9 years in charge.
Saved it. There's the delivery. Van Dijk! Yes! It's absolutely amazing. Legend is written for Virgil van Dijk and these Liverpool teenage sensations. You cannot believe how they do it time after time after time. Led by that man Virgil van Dijk, and Liverpool produce perhaps their greatest ever Wembley win. What's Jurgen Klopp going to see Virgil van Dijk do? Well, he's going to lift it with the manager. Liverpool are winners again. The League Cup is theirs for the 10th time. Nobody does it better than Liverpool in this competition. And for Jurgen Klopp, what a way to start his send-off. His skipper scoring the goal, and it's another red day at Anfield.
Junior players from Tennis Kenya are due to take part in the Under-14 Africa Junior Championship scheduled to start this Wednesday in Lome, Togo. The 6 who left this morning for Lome include Nancy Kawira, Selina Hoyer, Leah Gikunda, Bathsheba Ogamba, Jeff Okuku and Ayan Quadros. They will toss off with a warm-up event from Wednesday to Saturday before the main championship on Sunday. The team expressed optimism for a good outing under coach Caroline Odwor. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing Lunchtime News. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.ke. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Len Saudingo. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Sai sipotezi muda, nikitaka mimi nafuata buda na vile najenga inanijenga, vile najenga future. Yo, we're gonna say Sandabi hapa, aka the new sheriff in town, and you're watching Grapevine on KBC.
Nindo ninajidai, zikwapi marizo lai.
Those who attended this year's Magical Kenya Open were satisfied with the experience and memories acquired. A vibrant atmosphere filled the air.
When I dance, I get relief.
Dance is a wonderful way for people to connect.
We have amazing comedians who actually work as part of the team, and they've been able to put everything together. You can see different ideas about how things look, the performances, the layout. All of that has been a collaborative effort so that we are able to literally spread the gospel of comedy across the world.
Tuka watoto wa siku hizi manze bana. Sasa ongelesha wazazi vizuri wewe.
Wewe waacha.
Tinaitwa Van from TikTok ya.
Nimekumbukwa na Yesu 2024. Alafu hapo zinashika.
Yes. Mimi kama chipukizi do I qualify to be your daddy? Ama sugar daddy ni nani huyu?
Well, it depends with your pockets, number one.
Yeah.
To get past pain as your skiza tune, dial *812 *502#.
You don't have to carry your past pain into your present. Your generation doesn't have to go through the pain you went through. You have what it takes to bring a new life, a new breath, a new atmosphere, a new name into your generation. Don't just sit and watch a repeated pain.
To get past pain, dial *812 *502#. *812 *502#.
Niko na one vovo. Mgaga, kwa nini unaniita ukiwa hujudani laani?
Unanijua mimi nani? Mjukuu wa Mekatilili wa Menza.
Okay, na mimi utajua mimi ndio mjukuu wa Bob Mwani.
Toka kama mkubandike la uso sasa hivi.
Uniwekea
vya kupiga bonge wale na sima la uso wewe. Mwangalie.
Mimi na Mgaga tunakuanga one thing. In fact, inafaa nikikoa wewe unaitika.
You not my girlfriend. This is not my type.
Kwani hao watu hawako hapa ndani?
Hawapo.
Siko sasa hivi mimi ndio mkubwa sasa hivi ndio naandika watu gasi bwana.
That belongs to your sister's husband.
In the past, a forbidden passion marred a family's life. A passion that thrills, fascinates.
I love you more.
Hurts.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
Oh, all right.
Confuses.
I thought you're not going to come.
And breaks.
Why?
In the present, the seed of that passion repeats the story.
I'm marrying your sister on Saturday.
Nora, an envious, selfish woman who feels less than her sister Lucia, wants everything she has. Jealousy.
Just stop imagining things.
Deceit.
I don't need to have doubts about you.
Betrayal. Romance.
I love you more than my own life.
Passion that bores hatred, capable of inspiring revenge.
I don't even dislike him anymore.
And love that endures the test of time. The Color of Passion. Every Tuesday to Sunday at 8 p.m. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for this new edition of Business Africa. On our show today, we follow the concerns of the business community in Nigeria over Forex, as well as developments in the maritime sector in the east of the continent. But first, let's get on with the show with our top stories today. A generator to improve people's access to drinking water. It's Moboti Mai, the invention of two young engineers in the Republic of Congo.
What we would like to bring to the market will use a single application that doesn't need water in the first place and will directly recycle the atmospheric water vapor molecules contained in the air.
Guinea jumped on the cashew farming bandwagon, a rush towards an expanding sector that relies on local production units.
It was in 2017 that I took the initiative to plant cashew nuts. I saw the potential of cashew nuts for a long time as they can provide us decent living.
We head for Benin, a country aiming to compete with Eastern Africa with the largest wildlife park in West Africa, Agualand.
Today we realize that the young people need to relax and reconnect with nature and these natural resources. We wanted to bring all this together and allow those who don't have the opportunity to discover such beauty on a site. Well, let's start our show in the Republic of Congo, where access to drinking water remains a challenge for the majority. Daily expeditions of residents equipped with cans, basins and buckets often occur both in villages and in certain large towns. Faced with this reality, two Congolese engineers, Yannick Mumba and Landry Nindinga, designed a water generator which transformed ambient air into drinking water. Our correspondent in Pointe-Noire, Brice Kinou, followed this technological innovation, bringing hope to many communities. Take a look. In Pointe-Noire, the economic capital of the Republic of Congo, as in other cities, water